Hello everyone and welcome back to Education Foundation. And in today's video, we'll be looking at the question that states, given a function f of x, y, and z is equals to x raised to the power of 2 times y plus y raised to the power of 2 times z plus z raised to the power of 3. We are going to now show that x times the partial derivative of f of x plus y times the partial derivative of f of y and then plus z times the partial derivative of f of z is then equals to 3 f of x, y, and z. Now let's dive right into the solution. So from the question, we have the function of f of x, y, and z to then be equals to x raised to the power of 2 multiplied by y plus y raised to the power of 2 multiplied by z plus z raised to the power of 3. So now the next thing we are expected to do, as we have stated the function, is to find the partial derivative of f with respect to x, f with respect to y, and f with respect to z. So now let's start by finding each of their partial derivative, starting with f with respect to x. So if you find the partial derivative of f with respect to x, it will then be equals to differential of x raised to the power of 2 is 2x, and then we now multiply it by the remaining y. Then plus 0, since we don't have x in the other term there, then we will now add it plus another 0. Since we are not going to differentiate z raised to the power of 3. So then when we further simplify this, it will then be equals to 2x times y. So now that we have found the partial derivative of f with respect to x, we are now going to find the partial derivative of f with respect to y. So the partial derivative of f with respect to y is then equals to x raised to the power of 2 plus 2yz plus 0. So then when we further evaluate this, it will then be equals to x raised to the power of 2 plus 2yz. So now that we have found the partial derivative of f with respect to y, we are now going to find the partial derivative of f with respect to z. So the partial derivative of f with respect to z, or with respect to z, is then equal to 0 plus y square plus 3z raised to the power of 2, which will then be equals to y square plus 3z raised to the power of 2. So we have now gotten the partial derivative of f with respect to x, f with respect to y, and then f with respect to z. So the next thing is to multiply each of these partial derivatives by x, y, and z respectively. So when we proceed into the multiplication, it will then give us this. X times the partial derivative of f with respect to x plus y multiplied by the partial derivative of f with respect to y, and then plus z times the partial derivative of f with respect to z or z. So then when we further evaluate this, it will now give us x multiplied by 2xy plus y multiplied by x raised to the power of 2 plus 2yz, then plus z times y raised to the power of 2 plus 3z. So we are going to now put all of this in brackets as to not confuse us. So when we further evaluate this, this will now be equals to 2x raised to the power of 2 times y plus y times x raised to the power of 2 plus 2y raised to the power of 2 times z plus z times y raised to the power of 2 plus 3 times z raised to the power of 3. We will now put everything in brackets. So this is the product of what we stated earlier, which is this. So when we further evaluate what we have gotten so far, our next process now after we have gotten this is to now arrange the variables. So arranging the variables, it will now give us 2x raised to the power of 2 times y plus x raised to the power of 2 times y plus 2 times y raised to the power of 2 times z plus y raised to the power of 2 times z plus 3 multiplied by z raised to the power of 3. So when we now further evaluate this, it will then be equals to 3x raised to the power of 2 times y plus 3y raised to the power of 2 times z plus 3 times z raised to the power of 3. So we are now going to factorize this, which will then be equal to 3 all in brackets x raised to the power of 2 times y plus y raised to the power of 2 times z plus z raised to the power of 3 all in brackets. So this is our value of what we have gotten after factorization. So we are now going to recall that from the question, f of x, y, and z is equals to x raised to the power of 2 times y plus y raised to the power of 2 times z plus z raised to the power of 3. So we are now going to write that down. Recall f of x, y, and z is equals to x raised to the power of 2 times y plus y raised to the power of 2 times z plus z raised to the power of 3. So now that we have recalled this information, our value of x multiplied by the partial derivative of f with respect to x plus y multiplied by our partial derivative of f with respect to y plus z times our partial derivative of f with respect to z will then be equal to 3 times f of x, y, and z, which when we further evaluate this, it will then give us 3f of x, y, and z. Our left hand side is equals to our right hand side, hence ensuring that we have proven that x multiplied by the partial derivative of x with respect to x plus y times the partial derivative of f with respect to y plus z times the partial derivative of f with respect to z is then equals to 3f of x, y, and z, hence proving the question we were given. So all in brackets, the question have now then been proved. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your questions in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and see you in our next video.